Welcome to Booming Your Bottom Line, a weekly podcast on how to find, serve, and keep local boomer consumers as your customers. If you are a small business owner, then this podcast is for you. Hosted by Mark Hager, CEO of Age in Place Networks, publisher of ageinplace.com, and expert consultant in the boomer consumer industry. And Aaron Murphy, architect, certified aging in place specialist, national speaker, and published author on aging in place. These two small business owners are going to help you learn what you need to know and step by step what you need to do to grow your company through serving the rapidly growing older consumer niche. Now, get ready to supercharge your business.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Booming Your Bottom Line. I'm Mark Hager. This week we're wrapping up our three-part series on knowing your customer. And we've got some great information that you're going to be able to use right away to grow your business. My co-host Aaron Murphy is here as well. So get your notepads out. We're going to dive right in. Aaron, why don't you sum up what we talked about last week?
Yeah, happy to, Mark. In our last episode, we talked about how do you learn about your customers. So we covered where to start your research, including some of those national and local sources for general information about older consumers in your city. We also talked about the idea of building customer snapshots, which are essentially a series of profiles that represent your current or ideal customer and their demographic. Now remember, we also said we're not stereotyping, we're just doing data collection. But we have since had Mark put together an action guide for you to start helping you go down this road about learning your customers at a deeper level. Last week, we sent that out to everybody, and we had you sign up for that newsletter, and that's how you receive that. So if you haven't signed up, go do it, and we'll include the link to that action guide in that welcome email to you. Just go to ageinplace.com/small business, and the newsletter sign up is on the top right of that page.
Okay, so I guess the big question, now that we've talked about what you need to know and how you find it out, is what do you do with it once you have it? You know, what do you do with that customer information? So I think that probably the first thing that I would recommend is to go through the responses that you got when you were talking to your customers in the store or in your place of business and identify your successes. And when you're looking through your notes, just make a list of the things that they said you did right or that you can observe that you're doing right. And then I'd go back and I'd share that with your employees. You know, let them know how proud of them you are and of the work that they do. And if you're able to, if there are some included in the notes that you took, give them specific examples of some things that went really great.
For sure. And whatever you do, resist that urge to talk about anything negative that you may have learned when talking to your customers, when you're telling your employees about the situation. I'd stick with the positive right here. There's going to be time to talk about challenges and what to improve later. But in the introduction of this, we want to start with the pat on the back and the warm fuzzy piece first. So let them savor that praise and bask in it for a little bit. Your employees have earned the right to do that, and they deserve to know.
Absolutely.
The second thing we want to do is identify any issues that did come to light when we were talking to our customers. What you're looking to do here is find any patterns in that feedback that you received, like people might have been waiting too long, or there's not enough customer support out on the floor of the store, or they can't find what they're looking for. And by the way, that can be store or website.
Right.
The phone system might be driving people crazy. It's 3 transfers before live person, whatever. Or maybe your employees are just, that first impression's not working for some of your clients when they're out there and, you know, the employee's grumpy or whatever the case may be. So just some examples that you may hear and you're going to want to share.
Right. Now, again, there might be specific situations, you know, that were mentioned by one of your customers when you're talking to them. And it may even be something that, you know, as an owner that you need to address with that employee. Of course, you know, as business owners, we would wholeheartedly encourage you to do that, but don't let that negative situation that came out of you talking with your customers, don't let it distract you from what your larger goal is and that is identifying opportunities to be better.
Right, right. Okay, so once you've made that list, let's draw a line underneath what you wrote and add any other problems that you personally have identified or you know that you might have been sitting on. Okay, now set that aside. Once you move it over, we'll come back to that in a little bit. Now we're going to do a task that some people find distasteful or struggle to do, and that is correlating data. Now, I get that dealing with statistics isn't at the top of everyone's list. I don't mind working with math stuff. Maybe I'm kind of a geek that way, but many folks just despise that term crunching numbers, right? But at a minimum, I would like you to consider this a necessary evil, if that's all you can stomach it as a term, because you're going to have to tackle statistical data. I personally, as a business owner, have learned much more about my business by tracking data, because what I find as a service provider is I find trends and patterns on what months are slow, or you can even see kind of what's happening in the economy based on your billings. And it helps you set goals based on historical information, and it helps you forecast if you're ready to grow and how to plan for that. So what about you, Mark?
Well, I personally like working with stats, and I think it helps me put whatever I'm working on into perspective. It helps me see that big picture. Right.
Well, before we dive into that next part, I want you to understand what you're about to hear is a combination of exercises. And marketing professionals use this to help us focus a company's efforts on identifying and understanding a company's target customer. Then, by having a greater understanding of that target customer, they're able to start to identify products and services and processes that better serve those customers, right? We're trying to up your efficiency, increase your sales. And what we've done is simplified this effort into a series of steps that you can do to recreate this kind of work without paying some large marketing company, a month's worth of revenues. So, and it's a great way to start. And it's a good learning experience for you. Anything that is a little painful but is worth growth is worth doing. And so that in itself is worth a minute.
Right. So, and by simplified, I just want to be very clear, we mean oversimplified. We're not talking about a lot of hard work. It's just work. And we've pared this down to the bare nuts and bolts so you can do this yourself and in the process gain some incredible insight. So the key to this approach is being methodical. Like I said, it doesn't have to be hard work. You just focus on creating at first a bulleted list to start with. And then you'll go and you'll fill in some data about each one. So what you're doing is you go through, let's say, your national research, your generalized information about these older consumers, and you begin to list things like age ranges and income and marital status, maybe common health concerns, housing and living situations, maybe common situations they face in their life, or any other general information that you can, just a bullet that categorizes it. And then you come back through and you start adding in your data about those things.
And by doing this, you're creating a concise list of statistics that are pertinent to the demographic you're trying to target.
Exactly. So after you create that list and you start adding that information in, you then start adding the information in that you got from your customers.
Right.
And essentially you've now created this bulleted list of categories, and you try to put any of the information from your customers that you received, any of their responses, into these categories if you can. And if they don't fit in any of those categories, that's fine. Not everything's going to fit into a particular bucket. Just add them down below like you did the other stuff.
Yeah. So this is the beginning for you of that customer snapshot we were talking about. And as time goes on, you're going to ask more questions to your customers, and you can add to this, okay? And eventually, you've talked with enough customers that you can start combining the data into those snapshots of people that you are serving. It's a type of customer. That's what we're calling the snapshot. And they have certain qualities. lifestyle situations with health and family, financial status, housing situation. In the marketing world, these are called personas. We're referring to them as snapshots, but same concept if you ever hear the other term.
Right. So now that we have that information, you're going to start thinking about your customers and your business. So you're taking that, that light per se of this customer data that you have, and you're shining that on your company. And this is an exercise that you should do on a fairly regular basis, especially as you are considering new products or services or ways to increase your revenue and the level of service that you're providing your customers. So some of the things that you'd start thinking about would be, how are you doing things in your company? Internally and as they affect your customers. The processes that you use. What are you expecting from your customer? What do you expect them to do? How do they have to? What steps do they have to take to get X? Whether that X is support or to actually make a purchase or whatever it is. What do they have to do to get there? Also, you're considering, your products and services. I mean, as you begin to learn, and this is where we're really getting into the meat of it. You've now got this information that's generalized about them as a group. You've got some local specific information that you might have gotten from a local governing body in your community, which will probably also be statistical. But you also have actual information that you've gotten from talking to your customers, so you have a little bit better picture of them. And now you look at your company and what you do, how you're doing it, and what you're providing, and you can begin to identify gaps. And that is where the money is identifying the gaps. You may sell widget A, and I don't want to get too far off track, but because we're going to talk about this a lot more in later episodes. But you may sell widget A, and it does X, Y, and Z. But there's this other widget that does W, X, Y, and Z, and W is very important to a large percentage of your customers because of either a health condition that they have or the point in time that they're in their life, they can't do a certain thing, and W helps them do that. So maybe this widget is what you should be selling. And that's what this whole exercise is about looking at your business and what it's doing and how you can improve the service that you're giving your customers to make them want to come back and also tell their friends about you.
Right.
And for the long haul. And other things that you could be identifying is, where are the pain points that they're experiencing when they're interacting with your company, and how are people interacting with your company. So once you've looked at your company in this customer light, you can start identifying actual changes that you could make.
Right. And I'll just real quickly add to that and say that widget WXYZ can also be service WXYZ.
Absolutely.
And the W may be the missing link. So that's why we're going through this, right? It's you're turning over the hay to find a needle that you didn't know could make you money. So
exactly.
This is going to take a lot of thought. You're not going to make any changes just yet, okay? This is all about you generating ideas based on the information that you collect and help you get ready to solve some problems and behave better than you were before as a company. This can include anything from introducing or finding new products on your showroom floor or that you carry in your store, how it's laid out. This could be everything from light fixtures and carpets to employees and services, right? I mean, that's why we're doing this, and it's so you're going to dig in a little bit and collect the data, but expect to find light bulbs along the way. You're going to have some aha moments.
Oh, I agree.
Because we went through this process. So that's when you're going to go, oh, that was worth it. Wow.
Yep. So once you've got a list of ideas, I think that you should take that list and you should rank them by how much impact you think it's going to have on your customer's experience. Good. Not how much it's going to cost or what it's going to do for you or how easy it is to do, because this is not about easy. This is about making money. And we've already identified that improving that customer experience is going to improve your revenue. And that's what this is all about. So, the higher the ranking of a particular item, the more important it becomes on your list. And then after you've done that, go back through and you can start applying, just a guesstimate of what do you think it's going to cost to put that into action and make that change. Something that's, maybe a renovating your showroom or whatever, some kind of construction, that's going to be very high cost. Mm-hmm. It may have significant impact. It may not have significant impact. But right now, you're only worried about applying that estimation to each one of these things.
Right.
And once you've done that, that you're going to have that list now. It's going to give you a clear picture of, at least at your first stab at it, what are the things that you can do and what kind of impact are they going to have and what it's going to take for you to make it happen.
Right. And again, the prioritizing of that list is not cost for you, it is value to them.
Exactly.
Right. That's what we want to do, because the long-term ROI, return on that investment, is repeat clients and referrals and you being spoken of well. And that pays off in a way we can't put math to today.
Yep. But
it pays off.
Yep.
So this is going to be your initial list to work from and start to create those changes. And then, from that point forward, I think your goal is to implement. And I think the end of this is about a great customer experience. So this last part, this is Mark's favorite part, okay? It's the execution phase. So Mark likes to make things happen. And so we're going to let him take the reins on this section. And he's going to tell you how to put this into action. Because if you don't do anything with this data, well, then we're wasting our time and so are you. But if you implement, then you should start to see results. And so I'm going to let Mark take it.
Well, it is true that I like to make things happen, but I think I just get a jolt out of moving the needle and helping people move the needle. So as somebody who's laid out a lot of projects and executed a lot of projects, I just want to give you a few tips. I mean, obviously, the things that you need to do, they're gonna be specific to your company. Your people. You know what you're capable of, and there's gonna be some things you need to figure out. But I've got 3 general tips that are gonna help you execute your plan. And the first one is you've probably heard the old adage about how to eat an elephant.
Oh yeah.
Right. One bite at a time. You're not looking to change your business overnight. You're looking to make progress. You just want to move that needle just a little bit. Every time you put forth effort, you want to move the needle a little bit. Trying to do it all at once is way too much pressure, and you're just setting yourself up to fail. So, in and of itself, doing it all is more than you or any of your staff can handle at once. Not to mention the fact that if you tried to do it, like I said, you're just setting yourself up for failure.
Okay.
So pick your first thing, figure out how to implement it, and then you make that a habit. You go into your list, picking your next item, implementing it, make sure everybody is on board and doing whatever they need to do, and then you rinse and repeat. And the second thing is while you're doing each thing, you have to focus on the problem you're trying to solve, and don't let any noise or obstacles that come up while you're doing it get in the way of accomplishing that one goal. What essentially you're doing is you are fine-tuning your business. You want to turn your company into a customer-pleasing machine. So don't get distracted or give attention to the things that pop up during the process. And finally, I want you to have fun with it. You're already doing great work. You've probably got some really exceptional people working for you. And I know everybody's staff is not perfect, and how we interact with each other is not perfect. But as a group, you're doing some good stuff. So yeah. This is something that can help you all be better and make your customers happier and provide security for you and your employees and your company. So sell it to your employees like it's a joy. And you as an owner have got to live that every day as you're executing this.
Yep.
and just stay excited about it.
Mark, I
go
want to
ahead.
share one little thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
On my wall in my small, I'm looking up right above my monitor. I have in a plaque, the overall intentions I will have for my interactions are attunement, which is a present awareness and honest listening, clarity, focus without distraction to the person and issue at hand, and joyousness, a happiness about being in the moment, enjoying the interaction and the opportunity to be with this person in this situation.
That's awesome.
So that's basically, I mean, you were just saying that, and you are the mentor, you are the leader. You got to teach that to the people that you work with and that you work for.
Oh yeah. So I'd like for everybody just to keep in mind that all these changes that we're talking about, this is the how. How to make X problem or situation easier for your customer. The research, the customer snapshots, all those planning exercises, they're to help you identify the what. So I'm kind of working backwards. Mm-hmm. And they, the customers, they're the whole reason you're there. They're the why. They are your security, and they're the whole reason that you're in business in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So, getting more new and repeat customers, getting more revenue, having a greater impact in your community, all of these are working towards, the long term of your company and its place in your community.
Right. And then I think as an owner, I also would throw in the idea that there's the higher why, and that's they've termed it the why that should make you cry. Right?
Yeah.
For me, it's coaching my daughter's baseball team, or it's the time with the kids, or it's the ability to take your wife on that great vacation, or there's something in the back of your mind that you should have that reminds you why in the short term you work as hard as you do and what that looks like. And maybe it's to be able to write big checks to Rotary or whatever, but don't forget the why that makes you cry, because that's what gets you up in the morning. So
exactly.
We're going to stop there today. We want to thank you for tuning in. We really love being able to provide ideas that help you and your company. So we appreciate hearing from folks about the value you get out of what you learn here with us. So share us on social media or get in touch with us. Let us know if this is working for you, if you're excited about it, and any other feedback you have. So just as a reminder, if you want to get more valuable information, if you're ready to say 2015 is going to be that year that you take control of your business, and then you're going to want to start a habit of growth that's going to help you realize your own dreams. Okay, if that's your goal, if that sounds nice, you want to make this work for you this year, I want to have you subscribe to the podcast. And again, that is at agentplace.com/small business. We got a whole year of podcasts already laid out for you. You're just going to need to follow along 15 minutes a week. We're going to break down that elephant into bite-sized chunks and get you to the point where every week you have actionable items. We're going to take you through the process we've been through that got us where we are. And lots of other people have done this successfully. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're collecting data as experts and sharing it with you in a way that you can use. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please go to iTunes and search for Booming Your Bottom Line. Leave us a 5-star review there if we're doing our job well. It encourages us to keep making these podcasts for you, and it helps others find it when you rank us as well. So also, one more note. By the way, the show is now available on Stitcher as well. Have a great week, everybody. Be well, be blessed, and boom that bottom line.
Thanks so much for listening to Booming Your Bottom Line with Mark Hager and Aaron Murphy. To learn more about starting, building, and growing a local business that profits in the older consumer niche, just visit the website at agentplace.com/small business. And don't forget to sign up for the newsletter while you're there. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can email us at smallbusiness@agentplace.com. Fill out the contact form on the website or give us a ring at 865-236-1247. Booming Your Bottom Line is a joint venture of agentplace.com and empowering the mature mind.